Welcome to another allotment diary. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been down here, and I do apologise. The English weather has, of course, as always, been dreadful over the summer, and we've had cold weather. It's been like winter pretty much here, but the last few days it's heated up, and I finally managed to get down here, and I thought I'd just update you on how things are going. Right, you will remember there was a huge pile of weeds there, and I mean sort of chest height over here. I've dug most of them out, and in there I found this bag which had been left by the previous occupants, which I had some great compost in, which I've shoveled out and used, and there's a bit of other bits of rubbish over here, but the compost bins are nice and full. That one's very, very full, and this one's also quite full, as you can see there. So it's rotting down well, though, it really is, and it's producing some good quality compost. So come autumn, or probably, to be fair, spring next year, I'll be able to use all this as a mulch and dig it into the soil as a bit of a feed. So quite exciting there. Now over here, you will remember these were put in about a month ago now, and they were teeny weeny, tiny little things that frankly, yeah, we had no idea they were going to survive. They didn't look like they were going to make it, but look at them now. These are the broccolis, and these cauliflowers over here. They've done really well. They've really jumped up, and I must admit I'm very, very pleased with them. They've done fantastically. Now this is another veg. I need to look it up. It was given to me by a fellow plot holder, and you can see there, you can get a closer look at it. It's actually called Good King Henry. It's not very popular, but apparently it's quite interesting, so I thought it was worth a go growing it and just seeing what happened with it. He had some left over, so he kindly let me have them. Now I'm just digging up, you can see here again there's a few of them, the last of the potatoes from my main crop. Main crops performed very, very poorly this year. I think it is down to the fact that when the main crop was maturing, the weather went very dry, and I probably wasn't as good at watering as I should have done. So there's a lesson there for us all for next year, is when your potato plants are setting and maturing, make sure you give them plenty of water, because these I grew last year and they were significantly bigger, and there was a lot more than there are here. So that's I think a lesson I'm going to take with me for next year, and make sure I water my potatoes. You can see the weeds have enjoyed the wet weather, and they are really, really taking over. And you can see down here, all this side here was clear, and yet it's grown back and grown over incredibly quickly. The okra though here has greatly enjoyed the weather. It's loved it, and you can see there it's doing fantastic. So I'm looking forward to the autumn after the first frosts, and I'm going to enjoy picking those and trying them out. I hear they're very good. Now this was where the onions were. I've lifted all the onions. They were good size, very edible, can't complain. And there's a couple of Swedes in there now, and then the leeks, the rows of leeks I've put in. You remember me planting these. They were teeny little stragglers, but look, they've come up and they're a good size. I certainly can't complain. Now the sweet corn, it's undersized compared to everyone else's, but oh, look at that. That looks fantastic. Let's just break that one off. Oops, there goes the rest of the cane. It's a bit hard to do this one-handed. Let's just pull that back a bit. Look, hope you can see that. That looks really, really tasty. Cut the end bit out there off, and that's going to be delicious. So, looking forward to that. Let's put that with my pile of goodies to take home with me. I'll show you the rest of them in a minute. Unfortunately, most of this corn isn't actually going to be ready in time. It's simply been left I was too late planting it all, and I think it just hasn't had enough time to mature. Now corn is ready when the silk at the ends, see that one there? This has gone brown. That's when you know the corn's ready. And then typically, what you do, just need both hands, peel it apart. There you are, look. You can peel it apart and have a quick look, and you can see in there, there's some corns in there. Not brilliant amount, but there are some. So that certainly is something, and that one can come home with me as well. There's another one. So I'll go through and pick the rest of those in a few minutes. I'll get them all picked. My runner beans, I've got a bag full down here, so I already picked these before I started, so I do apologise that I haven't shared that excitement with you. But look, they're doing well. There's lots and lots on here. There's plenty of flowers, and you can see they're all getting to a good size. So I've got half a bag full, so really can't grumble at those. Considering how late they were starting, they've done very well, and you can see here there's lots more of them starting to form. So I'm really pleased with those. Certainly not complaining. Down here we have the cucumbers, which look, you can see they've you can see from here where they've struggled with the slugs attacking them. There's been quite a lot of problems. Slugs and snails have been absolutely dreadful this year, and absolutely everyone will tell you the same thing. They've been a nightmare. They really have. But I've had a few off here already. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. There's another 6 there, and to be honest, it looks like the plant's reaching the end of its sort of season. I don't think it's enjoyed the cold weather recently. I think it's really not helped it survive. Now here's the other broad bean plant. I'm just carefully trying not to stand on things. You can see again loads coming up here. I've had a few off here today. There's a lot more mature in there, so those are doing really good. Courgettes, been a good season for those. These again, I started them very late, but you can see it's making up for it there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on that plant alone. There's one over here. There's a couple in my bag over there. There's a couple more over there. So these have done fantastically. Was talking to one of the fellow plot holders today, and apparently they've had over 130 courgettes so far this year. They were saying they were wondering why their friends were avoiding them, but I suspect that's because they've given them loads of courgettes. The goji berries, lots of good growth on these. They're very good. So they fruit on wood that's a year old, so next year we should get some good results from those. These are the blackberries that need tying up properly again. I did start tying them up, but they've gone crazy. So again, should see some results from those next year, hopefully. Now, I thought these were cauliflower, but you can see that they're not actual cauliflower. They're a sort of Calabrese type cauliflower, I think it is. But I'm not grumbling. It's all good food, all edible. So one of these, either that one, or I think probably this one. This one looks like it's slightly more mature. This one's going to come home tonight and it'll be on the table. The rhubarb's still doing well. You can see it's crowding out everything else around it, which is a bit of a shame. But under here, there's a much maligned marrow plant. I have actually had a marrow off it. It's producing some more flowers, though I can't actually see any. Oh, there's a couple of female plant flowers there. So we've got to just hope that the rhubarb gets going. Some more leeks there, different variety, but again they don't seem to do very well. There seems to be something wrong with this area here. I can't tell you what it is, but this here, this rhubarb hasn't done very well over here for some reason. The leaves keep yellowing and falling off, so I don't know why that is. Walk across some more weeds. Let's just don't look at these, pretend they're not here. No one's ever seen these weeds. And we go on to the salad bed that I prepared. Now let's get some of this up to show you. Oh, I have to excuse some of the camera wobble here. Right, these are yellow beetroots. Golden beetroot to me is the best invention since sliced bread. I love beetroot. I like cooking them as chips. They go well with purple potatoes, particularly this one. You get purple potatoes and the yellow beetroot. You cook them up as chips and they're fantastic, because they're so colourful and so tasty. But my problem with beetroot is anytime you get beetroot out, your kitchen looks like some sort of crime scene, and you're just worried the police are going to come round and tape it off. And that puts me off using beetroot because it just gets everywhere and it's a nightmare to clean. So I don't actually like using beetroot because of that, but I love golden beetroot. It is clean, it is tasty, and I think it's much sweeter than normal beetroot. So let's get a couple more up. There's another one there. They're not very deep rooted. Careful, that's wobbly. Not very deep rooted at all, so they're very easy to just lift like that. You see, I've got a baby one there. That one's going to have to come up as well. There's a couple there. Let's just look around, see if I find another couple of large ones. That one looks like a decent size. You've got to be careful with beetroot. It is tempting to let them grow really big, but unfortunately if you do that, then the actual beetroot themselves tends to get quite woody, and that really does spoil the flavour of it. So I would recommend that you get your beetroot out before it gets too big. You may think, oh, I'll let it grow, I'll let it grow, I'll let it grow, but if you do that, then you will find out that they end up bolting and they go very woody. Now all I'm going to do to prepare them to go home is just cut them about there. So just take the dead leaf off, rub the soil off, don't get shouted at when you bring muddy plants home then, and you've got a good quality beetroot. If you leave the leaves on, you've got to dispose them at home. You might not have a compost heap at home, so it's a waste of good compostable material. And B, I found it tends to soften the veg actually. I found it with beetroot. If you leave the leaves on rhubarb, sorry. If you leave the leaves on rhubarb, it wilts and goes soft a lot quicker than if you cut them off pretty much as soon as you can. So let's cut those off. Shake a bit more of the mud off so I don't get shouted at when I get home, because we all know that leaving muddy plants in the fridge is a big no-no, and that it's one of the biggest contributors to marital discord there is. So there you are. Last one. So again, I tend to leave these in the ground until I need them, simply because there's no point picking them and taking them home and storing them unless I absolutely have to. I mean, if the frosts were coming, I'd probably pick them then. But to be fair, it doesn't need picking now. They're happy. You know, I can leave them in the ground. You can see there's a slight blemish on that one from something. I can leave them in the ground and then use them as and when I need to. So I come down every few days, pick a handful, and I use them. So certainly can't grumble there. I don't quite know why I planted rocket. I'm not a big rocket person. Oh, sorry, bee. But it's flowered. It's bolted and it's flowered. Let's just try one of the leaves so I can at least have eaten some of it. Actually, that's really nice. I kind of wish I'd picked more of it now. It's got that slightly bitter tang that rocket tends to have. But the flowers are very pretty, and the bees seem to appreciate it, so can't grumble there, can I? And among the weeds there are some spring onions, which are very tiny. Spring onions obviously take a lot longer to grow than I thought, so a bit disappointing how long they've taken. Now, like autumn whatever you call them. What do you call these? Raspberries. Annoying things. Look at this. Just they spread into this bed, and they're not welcome. But oh, look at that fruit. Absolutely lovely. Delicious looking fruit, and very. So these are doing lovely. They've produced quite well considering they're growing like weeds. And I will admit I spent half the afternoon sat down here eating all of these because they are absolutely delicious. So let's just run over to the other allotment quickly and show you what's there. Okay, the pumpkins are still going crazy. A couple of ones in here, not as big as I wanted, but they're a good size.